All right, thank you so much again. I mean, it's network. I'm trying my best. I have like two networks here, and I'm still having. All right, so let's just. I'm obviously going to do a recap of what I've said before. I said my name is Ife Alabi. I work as a project manager in the consortium, and thank you so much for welcoming back. Okay, so. I said I have been in the NGO space for close to 10 years now, obviously over 7 years, and I'm approaching the 10th year, and I'm glad about that because it's been an amazing journey for me. I remember when I started, I said I didn't really know that this is what they call, I really don't know that there's something called NGO or there's something called civil society organization or, okay, can we wait till this? Okay, yes, we can. Okay. Thank you. All right, welcome back, everybody. Please let me know where you want me to start. Thank you. All right, thank you too. Thank you so much for that heads up. Hi everybody. Hello. Please let's exchange pleasantries in the chat box, in the comment box. Hello everybody. I am super excited to have this section with us. I mean, I'm super excited. I love to talk about okay, yeah. So welcome to Muazu Africa's Knowledge Up, and Muazu Africa seeks to bridge the knowledge and access gap that exists among female-led social enterprises by increasing awareness regionally, nationally, and across many regions. And I happen to be one of the mentors at Muazu Africa, and I'm glad to work alongside with the founder and as well as the what will I call it? The founder of this great vision, which is Miss Tolulope Makiwa. I'm super excited to work with you, and I'm glad for this great privilege. And I look forward to we women coming together to grow together, because now the mantra that is everywhere is women supporting each other. Oh, thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you too for coming. Thank you too for joining. I'm really excited to grow with us, to learn together, and also share from my own knowledge. All right, so I really want to start today's presentation without you getting to know who I am. My name is Ife Alabi. I am super excited, and I'm doing this live section from Nigeria. Muazu Africa is an African thing, so Nigeria is part of, we are the giant of Africa, like we with pride. And I'm going to be talking today on a very important topic. If you see me looking down, I'm actually looking at my slides because I prepared the slides, and I'm also going to share it with our coordinator. So in case anybody's interested, you can always take it from them. So today's topic is impact mayor merit versus monitoring and evaluation for a social enterprise rather. Impact mayor merit versus monitoring and evaluation for social enterprise. All right, I'm a social entrepreneur. Yeah, I am a social entrepreneur, and I cried about that. And I would like to share my own. I would like to actually share my background in terms of how I came into the space. So, like I said, I work as a project manager, and I've been working as a project manager for over 5 years. I have worked across several sectors, and currently now I am based and I'm focused, and or let me say I am currently working in a think tank, and it's focused on health. Health application of health policy, global health, and other related field about it. How did I even came into this space? If anybody can ask me if you're interested. So I said I really don't know there's a space like this when I started. I started really young. I can remember as far back as when I was even before I clocked 14. Back then when I was in GSS 3 or GSS 2 thereabout, I happened to be class monitress. That is one of the fundamental leadership role anybody can be used to. So I remember that being a class monitress, and also happens to always stop my class. I would come in front of the class and I was like, okay, everybody, since whenever our teachers are not around or during break time, I want to just inspire people and encourage people. That is what I just always do when I come to class. And people are always super excited to listen to me. I think that was even a form of encouragement for me, because whenever I come to talk, everybody know that I wanted to say something. And the fact that they're actually learning it, they're hearing from someone that always score A's in class. So that gave me a privilege, I must say. And I continued till when I got to uni. I also always, any little opportunity that I have, I just want to encourage people. I just want to, in my little way, I just want to share some thoughts with people. Then I also go on outreaches. The popular ones were often it, so I go from outreaches. We talk to them, we train them. I remember then in uni then as an undergraduate, I always organized training programs for maybe during the breaks. Just during the break. The sectional. Semester break. It's been a while I left school. Don't mind me. So semester break, I just want to train people, and then also just grow together. So when did this journey particularly started, like officially for me, was during my youth service, my NYC, and I knew before that time that I have a thing for women and girls, and I just felt like there is so much more for women, there is so much more for us, and that was when I really started during my youth service. I started organizing program. I had my youth corporate, and that's one thing I'll actually talk about, what tips you need, to sustain yourself in the social enterprise. You need relationship. Everything is not just about money. So I was able to convince. See, if you're not convinced, you cannot convince others. So I was able to convince the couples that were staying together in the same lodge at that time. There's not really like money in quotes. We just go out, we organize programs. I remember organizing a big event at Imo State University then in 2016, and it was well attended by students. I knew it was a tough week for me because I was going from one department to the other, convincing people that people should come for the events. People were going to learn. Then my mentors then were very available to facilitate the section. So social enterprise has always been in my system, or I've always been doing it, but I really don't know that this is what they usually call it until when I finish youth service and I begin to like formalize what I'm doing and not just doing like I'm passionate about it. I needed to put structure and just get to know about social enterprise. So let me just go straight into it because we don't really have I know there's enough time, but obviously we need to also maximize time. So let's talk about what is really social enterprise for people that are just joining it. So I don't want to just go straight into the topic. I also want to give like a foundation, a landing base for it. So social enterprise organization that pursue both social and economic goals and with an entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm going to say it again, that social enterprise are organizations that pursue both social and economic goals. So these are the two words: social enterprise. So social is from relating with people, touching people's life, and enterprise is like more or less like an entrepreneur, an economic based thing. So that's enterprise. Like enterprise also talks about an act of making money. I mean, when money is being exchanged. I mean, economic. I'm sure anybody that knows economic will know that economic has to do with funds, has to do with capital, has to do with resources. So social enterprise organizations have been able to merge it completely. You know, in the past it has always been like NGOs. I mean, when I talk about NGOs, I mean any organization. I think we should use civil society organization, because NGO is a broad word, because NGO, even a bank is an NGO, because it's not owned by the government. So anything that is not owned by the government is an NGO. So but let's talk about civil society, because civil society is more community based. So a lot of time civil society had to go and beg so and so to give us funds to carry out this project. You know, it was in most of these things, let's say over like 2-3 years, it just fizzle out. People, you know, it's not just about the passion. And, you know, it's not just about the passion only. You also have to. Sustainability is the key, and that is the message with social enterprise. Sustainability is the key. It's not just about impacting people, you know, going from one community to the other, and at the end of the day, they've forgotten your messages. I mean, you've not really touched life, like per se, like you've not really touched life. Like what is the essence of a woman that is going through a domestic violence, and you decide to help her out, and you didn't empower her. You did. Maybe she's being domestically abused by her husband, you know, and because the husband has a higher economic power or in the house, and she's the one taking care of the house, and you decide to take her away, help her through the whole stuff, got her stable, but what's she going to be eating? And that is where social enterprise came in. Beyond impacting lives, giving a sustainable impact. I think that's the word. Giving a sustainable impact, providing a sustainable impact. Such a way that when you are touching life, you are also making, they can also stand by their own. They are not just dependent on you alone. They can also be like, they can stand alone, you know, they can stand alone. I don't want to rush myself, so I hope you all understand what I'm saying. So social enterprise are organizations that are able to match the two visions of, you know, impacting lives, touching lives, and also giving them source of earning, source of survival, beyond just touching lives. I mean, beyond just, you know, doing the girl child campaign, you are also empowering them. I think that's the word. You are also empowering them such a way, such that you're not just going to, you know, speak to women or speak to girls. This is how to live. This is, you know, you're not just doing just advocacy and sensitization. You are also empowering them. So social enterprise is like, I've gotten that word. You are touching lives, you are sensitizing lives, and at the same time, you are also empowering them. So you get the two pillars. So you're touching lives, you're touching people, and you're empowering them. And when you're talking about empowerment, that means you are giving them economic ability. You are also giving, you're empowering them. You're making them economically stable. That kind of thing. So social enterprise typically engage in delivery of social services and work integration services for communities, whether urban or whether rural areas, you know, whether urban. I mean, talk about urban, you're talking about cities, you're talking about towns, you're talking about quite a developed and exposed environment. I mean, in terms of they have basic social amenities. And when you're talking about rural areas, you're talking about areas that need more help. You know, we all know those areas around us, and I don't really need to go into details about it. So here is what I'm also going to say that I have here. I said, in addition, social enterprises are also merging in the provision of community service, including education, cultural, and environmental fields. So yeah, I know what Tolu said. Said mission and margin. Awesome. So when you talk about social enterprise, across several fields, social enterprise can find niche. You can be a social enterprise in several sectors. even from the education to the cultural to the environmental. Even a lot of corporate organization now, a lot of them have what they call CSR, corporate social responsibility, that from our home profits we want to also impact life. I'm sure you must have seen the likes of Airtel. I know there's a popular one, Airtel, which is touching lives, that from the money or from the income, or they just set apart a part of the income that comes in, they use it to empower the community. Let's even talk more about, let's go into facts and figures why social enterprise is very important. Across sub-Saharan Africa, social enterprise are estimated to directly create about 28 and 41 million jobs. Whenever I hear Tolu talk about social enterprise, one thing that always gets me excited is the figures. Like, you're not just touching lives, you're not just sensitizing, you're not just doing advocacy, you are also empowering them. And I've had Tolu talk about this severally, of the number of jobs that social enterprise has created, and the number of jobs that there's a more prospect to create. And that's a beautiful thing. Like I earlier said, that you're not just helping that woman from domestic violence, or you're not just helping that woman from you're not just helping that child from child abuse, because if you don't empower them, they will still go back to where they are coming from, and that makes that and us, that's like plus or minus. When you plus one and you minus one, you're obviously going to have zero. So I also have in fact said that social enterprise employ on average 20.6 million people, over the years across Africa, across several countries in Africa. Now, I want to talk about social enterprise. What is the attribute, or what are the attributes of social enterprise? Number one thing is social enterprise have social or environmental mission. There's a mission, and the mission directly involves people's life. There's a mission. I know of a particular organization that I'm super excited about, and and the organization, what the organization does is actually helps pregnant women, they help pregnant women in the sense that not everybody will go to the hospital to deliver their babies. Some people will still do the traditional birth attendant, and what they do is that they're empowering, instead of going to communities and saying, don't go to that, they call it in Yoruba mama agbebi, don't go to that mama agbebi, go to the hospital. What they did was, they decided to start training the TBAs. The TBAs are the traditional birth attendants, and because the TBAs were not supporting that mission, okay, so traditional birth attendants are feeling that you are attacking them, and they are not supporting it. So what they did was, they began to train traditional birth attendants on the right, the right procedures of delivering children, delivering babies, and they begin to they themselves, they are now advocates of safe deliveries for women, and at the same time, their sources of income has been maintained and even has been improved. That kind of thing. While they are educating the traditional birth attendants, they also teach them, modern equipment, safety measures, to avoid HIV/AIDS during birth, the sanitation, the right way of delivering babies. And that's what social enterprise, entails. I've talked about the number one thing that makes a social enterprise, that they have a social or they have an environmental mission. It is directly to the right cause. Number two is that there's a product or there's a service integration of the organization. So there's a service, listen to me now, there's a service and there's a product integration. And that's what makes sustainability. You can't just be, every time, you can't just be waiting for grants. Every time, you can't just be waiting for somebody that will donate for you. What if you didn't have a grant? What if you didn't have somebody to donate for you? But look at it now. The goal is not to make profit. The goal is not to, extort people and take their money all in the course of, I want to empower them. The goal is to also use, to make services and resources available for them, even at a cheaper rate. So imagine that you empower young people on a particular skill. Yes. So imagine that you've empowered people, young people, on a particular skills. So let's say for example, maybe it is fashion designing, or you want to teach people how to sew. You want to make them more employable. So what you did, you just train them. Let's say we train a particular, let's say 50 girls in XYZ community, and so after training them, do you want them to be traveling to Lagos? Let's say they are in Osun State. Do you want them to be traveling to Lagos, or traveling to Ibadan, or traveling to several areas to get the materials they're going to use? Because if people don't get the resources that they need to carry out what you've imparted them with, they're not going to do it. They'll just leave it. So, and that is where service and product integration comes in. That is, you've empowered people, you've told them what to do. You're also giving them the right resources at a token. In fact, the goal is not to make profit. The goal is not just about making profit. The goal is to make profit, and it's a cycle. You empower people, you provide resources, or you provide products and services, and the money you get, you also are using the same money, the profit, to also empower people. And it's not exploitation. Another thing I would say is that what makes the social enterprises, majority of the profits are invested back for social impact. And don't forget, social enterprise, you impact people and you empower them. Impact empowerment. Impact empowerment. Impact empowerment. So let's continue. So let's talk about impact measurement. Impact measurement, because don't forget the topic for today is impact measurement versus M&E. M&E is monitoring and evaluation. I think we use M&E a lot when we are on the field, when you're doing a field work. So you get to hear people saying M&E, 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 and M&E. And we need to, and what I'm going to do today is, I want to give a clear-cut differentiation between impact measurement and M&E. Yes, M&E is monitoring and evaluation. So let me talk about impact measurement. Basically, impact measurement is always an ongoing process. It's an ongoing, and when you talk about an ongoing process, that is, it keeps evolving. You keep checking it. It's evolving. Unlike monitoring and evaluation, impact measurement is a long-term activity. Unlike monitoring and evaluation, I said, it's basically used during projects. Project like when you're having a field work. Let's say this project is, we want to do a campaign against female genital mutilation. It's a project, But when we're talking about an impact measurement, it's a long-term thing, and it's an ongoing process. It does not end, so it's long-term. And what do I have here? I said impact measurement is an ongoing process that helps organization answer some set of questions. And number one question is, do our direct beneficiaries feel that our work is benefiting them? Number two, do our stakeholders, both primary and secondary stakeholders, believe that we are taking the right step to ensure a long-term impact? Like I said, impact measurement talks about the long-term impact, and that's why, and that's what makes an organization, sustainable, and that's what makes a mission sustainable. Okay. Also, I said, during impact measurement, also checking that do our stakeholders. When you hear the word stakeholders, I'm going to also go as basic as possible. Stakeholders are 3 levels. Stakeholders have 3 levels. People that there's a likelihood of your activity to be impacted or to be affected. People that are being currently affected by that project or by that activity. And people that have been affected by that activity. Like, it's a 3 process. It talks about past, present, and future. Past in the sense that people that have been affected by that activity that you engage in, people that are going to be affected, and that is what makes a social entrepreneur, an enterprise, long-lasting. So it's not just about the present. You're also looking at the past, and you're also looking at the future. People that what we are doing is going to affect them. And I also so we're going to talk about more of this social enterprise. We're going to talk about more of this impact measurements, more and more and more, because impact measurement is everything. I tell you, if you're doing anything, if you're starting any organization and you're not evaluating the impact, then what is it? I mean, you obviously need to retrace a step. I have something here. I have a form like a cartoon, and I'm going to read I have it. I said, not everything can be counted counts. Not everything can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. That looks like I'm playing with words. I'm sorry, I kind of have flu, and I'm trying to. I'm getting better. So not everything that can be counted counts. So not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. I have here, I said you can't manage what you cannot measure, and that is it. You can't manage, and that's where impact measurement comes in. You can't manage. Okay, yes, thank you, Francie. I said it is imparting and empowering. I'm understanding the procedure well, and I love it for sure. Thank you. So you can't manage what you cannot measure. I mean, if you cannot measure your impact, how are you going to convince your big shot? I mean, the next big shot. For example, let's say you start an organization and you're just doing program. You're just doing program, and you're just going from one level to the other. Yeah, you're not measuring it. You're not even going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, how many people have been impacted within this time? Okay, for the people that have been impacted, how many people have continued in this race? What do we need to do better? For example, and that's where you get to review your methodologies over and over, because when I talk about methodologies, I'm talking about the method, the procedures, your tools, your keys that are using to carry out a particular mission, your methodology. So there are different types of methodology. We have, methodology that has to do with you going feed measurement, you going you're going on the feed. I mean, a lot of organizations have different methodology of them carrying out their mission. I mean, for every mission, there is a way to carry it out, obviously. So if you keep, let's say you're empowering youth, your focus area is on women and girls, or girls in university, or girls in, let's just pick girls in secondary school. I mean, that's one of the easiest things that anybody can do. You're teaching them about these things, and then let's say you empower them with a skill, you empower them in how to sew, and then after maybe the training, the project or the activity took about 3 months, after 3 months, and you are expecting that after 3 months, because nobody is doing any activity for Jamboree, nobody is doing any activity for Jamboree. It has to be an outcome. What is your expected outcome? So let's say the plan is you're going to empower 50 young girls on how to sew, let's say on fashion designing. And the plan was like, after empowering them, they expected that out of the 15, 30 people are going to start their own young people. I mean, you're empowering young girls, because people are in school. And you expected that 30 people out of the 50 girls, 50 young ladies that you've taught, you've fashion designing, you've empowered them with fashion designing. And you're expecting that about 30 of them, let's say 30 of them, should by the end of, should start their own outfit. And let's say you did 3 months, then after 3 months you're going to go back to all the ladies, all the young people that you imparted, and said, okay, how many people have started? How many people have really started, putting into action what we've taught them? And you find out that it's just 10. That means your project has failed. That means there is something you are doing wrong. That means it's not really impacting people. That means people have not been convinced. And that means a lot of things are not working. So impact assessment is very, very important. It's very, very important as a social enterprise. It's not just about churning, because if you are not measuring your impact, then you're no longer a social enterprise. For real, because a lot of organizations started being a social enterprise, and at the end of it, they're just making money. They're not touching life. They're not even going back. They're not checking their back and say, okay, the people that we've empowered, or the people that we are currently empowering, are they really making progress? Are they achieving what we want them to do? And as I said, you can't manage what you cannot measure. So you need to have impact measurement strategy. So I really have here something I think I should actually continue before I talked about that. So Impact measurement is key and it's achievable. So when you're talking about impact measurement, so the question is, how will social impact, when you talk about okay, yes, I love somebody saying it's about giving service, providing jobs, satisfying social basic needs. That's justice. You've summarized it. It's about giving service, you're also providing job, and you're also satisfying social basic needs. So another thing I also talk about is, so how do you carry out this impact measurement? Number one, you in impact measurement, you have to understand. When you're carrying out your impact measurement, you talk about understanding the process, the people that you are involved. You also have to also check if the impact is aligned with the goal. Mission statement and vision statement are things that you don't want to joke with as an organization. And it's not just, even for me personally, I always, when I want to start any initiative, I always make sure that the first thing I do is I write the mission statement and vision statement, because if you don't do that, you find out that you're just doing, today we are doing female genital mutilation, you go there. Tomorrow, let's go and empower cassava farmers, you go there. Next tomorrow, let's go and do wash, sanitation and hygiene, you go there. So you need to have your mission statement and your vision statement, and that is what you're going to use to actually measure your impact. In fact, that's your number one card to measure your impact. Your mission statement and your vision statement is your number one card to measure your impact. So I will talk about further details on this. I have here that social impact is a positive change that your organization has created or effected over time, and that is what makes you a social enterprise, an organization that is driven by impacting the community, impacting people. So your social impact is a positive change that your organization has effected. Now I talked about an organization that I said their goal was to make sure that more women deliver babies safely. Their goal is to help with maternal health, and the best thing they could do that, and their target area is rural environment, rural communities, where people cannot afford or where people are not convinced of going to the hospital. So what they did was, a lot of people actually go to traditional birth attendants. What they did was they started empowering the traditional birth attendants to achieve their goal. So you can say that traditional birth attendants are their primary stakeholders, because they are the people that the community or the pregnant women are going to. And I said that this change that you're making could be social. When you talk about social, that means anything that appeals to people, that indirectly involves people. Could be economical, that is, you are empowering people, a job, you're giving people job, a source of livelihood. And it could be environmental, like climate change. Your organization can be driving activities in regards to environment. Example of environment impacts are climate change activities. You are driving climate change advocacy. And I said that as a social enterprise, creating positive social impact is at the heart of what you do. And you must be able to identify, you must be able to understand, and you must be able to capture the full value of the impact of your activity. Don't forget, impact is very key. Profit is not the goal for social enterprise. Impact is very key. And if you cannot measure your impact, then you're not making any impact. You must be able to measure your impact. And I said here that understanding, measuring, and communicating impact is extremely important. And do you know why? Why it's extremely important? It's extremely important for sustainability. And where does sustainability comes in? Sustainability comes through funding and partnership. For example, if you come like, let's say I'm an investor and I saw what you are doing. Maybe you're driving an action towards climate change, and and I've given you let's say a particular amount of money for the year 2020. For the year 2022, and the plan is that I'm going to evaluate what you're going to do, by the midway, to know if I'm going to continue funding you. And here is it, we're in July, and July is like the year has been split into half. and I come and say, okay, what have you done? And you're telling me that, oh, we've just sensitized, we've advocated, we've impact. You need to give me facts and figures. Oh, community, Osun State. Don't worry, why am I mentioning Osun State? Because I'm from Osun. Please enjoy that. So, Ilesha has been impacted. 100 youth have been impacted. Okay, we visited 100 youth. Out of the 100 youth, 50 people are doing so well. 50 people have their own businesses. 50 people are, it has to be, you need to measure these things, because without that, there is no way you're going to have sustainability. There is no way you're going to have continuity. And there is no way your funders, you're going to use there's no way you're going to secure your existing funders. I mean, your funder. When I mean funders, I mean people that are supporting in terms of finances. And there is no way you are going to also secure new people. I said impact is central to impact is central to organization strategy for any social enterprise. And it helps you to know whether you are meeting your mission and your vision, both in long term and in short term. Now, I also have here that measuring your impact, measuring your social impact, and when I'm talking about, don't forget the context of what I'm talking about is a social enterprise. Measuring your social impact will help you to understand, will help you to manage, and will help you to communicate the social value that you work or that your organization creates in a consistent way. And I talk about the benefit. Number one, it will help you to understand, it will help you to target your social work. I mean, detailed information about the impact your time and investment is having upon your social goals will greatly improve your ability to put your precious resources to best use. Social impact assessment helps organizations to plan better, to implement more effectively, to successively bring initiatives to scale. You have what we call scaling up. For example, Muazu Africa is not just in Nigeria. There's Muazu Africa in Rwanda, and we are scaling up. Before you know it, Muazu Africa is now in all the 54 African countries. And the reason why the organization can keep scaling up is because we are measuring your impact. And when you talk about measuring your impact, you're talking about facts and figures. Another thing I talk about is about measuring your impact is it helps to attract investors and retain your existing investors' confidence. Social investment has generated great hopes among many investors. For example, a lot of businesses are looking for social enterprise to support. So when they know that they are giving you an X amount of money and you're using Touch Life, they're excited. They want to support you more. They want to keep supporting you. And the process of supporting you are also going to be attracting more people. So another thing is that if social investment is to become what I'm just saying is that for you to, social impact assessment is very important because you need it to sustain your founders and you also need it to attract new people. Another thing again is that what I say is that what is the importance of sorry, my slide just, what's also the importance of impact measurement is also that you also helps to expand, add new resources, add new goods, add new services. When in the process of measuring your impact, you're going to discover opportunities and challenges. And the purpose of opportunities and challenges is that they help you in expansion. When you measure your impact, you're going to see opportunities. And opportunities are opportunities helps you to expand. When you see opportunities and you know what to do next, opportunities, like I said. For example, let's say let me talk about that maternal health. The maternal health as an example. When you notice that, maybe in the course of you helping you are helping community to have safe delivery, then you find out that mothers also need things for their children, for their newborns. Maybe they need shawl, they need soap, they need all the newborns, So you can see that opportunity and you are also supplying them. This agency that I know, they literally move from just empowering traditional birth attendants to even selling mother and child kits. I mean, they sell mother and child from clothing to what mother means. I mean, to postpartum, postpartum materials. And that's why I just say that it helps you to, when you measure your impact, you're able to see opportunities and you're able to also see challenges, which you can also turn challenges to opportunities. All right. I've really been talking about impact measurement. Now let me talk about there's something I want to talk about is what is the starting point for your impact. So I'm going to talk about your starting point and the kids, and I'll go to M&E and in short, what is the starting point? So the starting point for you to start impact, I mean measuring your impact as a social enterprise is, what are the long-term changes for people? So when you talk about, I talked about social enterprise, they have three things in common. Number one, social impact. Number two, economic impact. Number three, environmental impact. So you need to check that. You need to check for you to start your show. I mean, if you want to really, like, let's say you have a social enterprise and you want to engage in impact measurement, you need to start checking what are the longer term changes for people, what are the longer term changes for the environment, and what are the longer term changes for the economy that my organization or that your organization has created or has contributed to. You need to ask yourself that, what are the most important things we need to know? You can find this out by asking, what impact are you making? And that you get to ask that from your stakeholders. You can also ask that, are there any other things we need to do? Or are there any other things that we need to know, such as unexpected impact of your activity? Let's say you have a mission, and when you are carrying out your activity, you find out that when you are measuring your impact, you find out that some other things were also coming up. For example, maybe it could be negative and it could be positive. For example, maybe the activity the organization is carrying out is positively affecting young child, in the sense that young girls now go to school more often. So you need to also pay attention to that. Excuse me. Okay, so what are the tools for measuring social impact, if you may ask me? Number one tools is that measuring social impact can both be complex and can both be expensive. But don't worry, you don't need to break your bank to actually measure your social impact. There are different strategies that you can put into it. Number one thing is that you can use both the sophisticated tools, and then you can use both the basic tools. And let's talk about the basic tools first before I talk about the sophisticated tools. The basic tools that you can engage is, number one, it can be two ways. Number one, we have the quantitative and the qualitative tools. And everything about impact is hinged on what I call data. Data is what makes your impact count, because everybody wants to hear facts and figures. So you can actually start with, when I earlier talked about that you can use qualitative and quantitative. So when you talk about qualitative, you are talking about using videos, you can do interviews, you can do focus groups, you can use survey. I mean, people that the lives that you have taught, the people that you are currently engaging, you can do interview for them. You can go visiting them and have a video interview and say, although you have to actually get their consent, and I'm sure they're going to give you their consent because you've touched their lives. So you can do video, obviously. I always say that any project you are carrying out, that there are no videos and there are no photos to show for it. The truth is that you didn't do it. And that's very important for you. I mean, investing in video and investing in pictures is very central. And another thing again is that you can do survey, you can send out survey, like a Google form for people to fill, or like all this questionnaire for people to fill. And in turn, we are also generating data. And when you talk about sophisticated material, you can talk about bringing in an auditor, or you are bringing in an analyst, a business analyst, or you are bringing in somebody to just measure what you are doing. So don't let me just base my today's section on impact measurement alone. I'm sure by now you already understood what impact measurement is about. So let's talk about M&E, monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation is two things. I mean, they are actually two things. I mean, two separate. What would I call it? Two separate terminology, even though we kind of pronounce them together. So monitoring and evaluation, they are two. Like I wrote here, I said monitoring and evaluation. When I start talking about M&E, there's going to be a bit of similarities with impact measurement, but impact measurement is a long term. It's not just it's not just a project based. It's a long term. You are continuing because you are sticking with your vision. Obviously, your vision is not going to change. But you know what? There are different ways you can carry out your vision. So impact is encompassing, while M&E is sectional. You get it? Your vision as an organization is not going to change. Abi, is it going to change? It's not going to change. So, but there are many ways you can use to carry out your vision. And many ways is not talking about different projects in an organization. For example, I work as a project manager. There are many projects that my organization carry out. But the reason why we are carrying out those projects is because we want to use those projects to achieve our vision. We are using those projects to achieve our vision and our mission statements. So, at the end of all the projects, is when we are going to do impact measurement. But M&E has to do it, project based. What impact has to do with accumulation of all the, people say that the difference between projects and programs is compilation of different projects. So, in a program, you have different projects. So also in an organization, you have different activity, you have different projects. So monitoring involves ongoing measurement of performance of a particular activity or particular project, and it talks about cost efficacy, assessing whether the resources are doing well. It also talks about regular tracking of your resources, activities, output of a particular project. Don't forget, of a particular project, unlike impact is of all the activities that you have carried out. Why M&E is of a particular project. Now, what about evaluation? Evaluation, on the other hand, excuse me. All right. Evaluation, on the other hand, is like you are evaluating, like focusing on improving your impact and also improving your activity. So monitoring is you are keeping track. Evaluation is you are improving, and that's why both of them actually go in hand. I mean, they go together. Monitoring and evaluation. There is no way you carry out an evaluation without first monitoring. So that's why they actually work together. Monitoring, evaluation rather, seeks to answer questions about whether the right things are being done, is a measure of performance of a program design and how it can be better. That's just what monitoring is about. Okay. I want to actually, I'm really hoping that in the next 10-15 minutes I will be done. So if you have any questions, I want you to put it in the chat box, in the comment box, and I will just be answering them as we continue. So monitoring and evaluation is also crucial for accountability, is also crucial for funding, and is also crucial for planning the next step of action. When I'm talking about monitoring, I'll also be talking about impact measurement, because I want to make sure that you're not mixing it together. Impact measurement, okay, somebody said that I should talk about the difference between monitoring and evaluation. Okay, I will talk about it more as we go on. Okay, so I said that they both go in and they go together. Monitoring, for you to carry out a monitoring exercise, you must have set, okay, the difference, yes, I got that. You must have set what they call indicators. But don't forget, M&E is for what? It's for a particular project. It's for a specific project that is being carried out in an organization. So you must have set some, what they call it, indicators, or they call it key indicators. So in monitoring, you are checking if the indicators are delivering. If they are delivering, maybe, for example, at the end of a project, you are meant to reach 20 people. So you're going to check, okay, you are meant to reach 20 people in 5 days, or you are meant to have 20 people sign up in let's say you want to do a project, and the project is 20 people must see what you are doing every day, and the project is meant to stay for 5 days. So, and you said that 20 people are meant to do, do this, sign up, maybe sign up. Then you check. Okay, monitoring is, you're going to be checking. Okay, maybe you set from, within 24 hours. You're not going to check, okay, after 12 hours, how many people have signed up? Okay, 15 people. After 24 hours, how many people have signed up? Oh, 25 people. That means you've achieved that. Then you don't need to evaluate. So, but another side about evaluation also comes by also saying that the people that are signing up, even though you've achieved your 25 people that you expect to sign up for a particular project, are they the people, are they your target audience? And that is what evaluation comes in. So evaluation is to also check the quality, while monitoring also has to do with quantity achievement. But evaluation, you're also checking, is it the quality of what we want to achieve? That is what evaluation is all about. That's they go in hand in hand. Monitoring and evaluation. You are meeting your targets, but you're also checking, is it the is the target that we are meeting? Is it the quality? Is it the quality that we intend, for this project? Now, why is monitoring, and I hope Francine has gotten what I just said. Monitoring, you're monitoring, okay, we've set a particular baseline. We've set a particular indicator. You want 25 people to sign up for an activity. Evaluation will now be like, okay, is it the 25 people that have signed up? Are they really the people that we want? Hope it's not 25 people that maybe we want 25 girls within the age of 10 and 18. And then at the end of the project, you now find out that 25 people have actually signed up, which is good. But evaluation will now be like, okay, are the 25 people, are they the people that we want? You have to check, are they people that we want? Hope it's not 25 people that are within the age of 30 and 40. So that's where monitoring and evaluation. All right, thank you. Monitoring and evaluation activity, monitoring and evaluating your activity will give you important pointers about your organization health and influence. So it will also tell you whether your assumptions are right, and if it will also tell you where you are spending your money or where you are spending your resources on. So what are the tools and techniques that social enterprise can use to monitor and evaluate their organization? And it's also very similar. Number one, I've talked about you need qualitative evidence and you also need quantitative evidence. Now, monitoring and evaluation is simply also like assessing your impact but on a smaller level, checking if your activity that is being carried out is fulfilling what you intend to do. I will just rush now, I will also rush now because I have another call after now. So, but I'll just say that, what I will just say, I'm just going to read out what I have here. Excuse me. I'll just read out what I have here. Impact measurement, monitoring and evaluation, they are both important for a social enterprise. They are both very, very important for a social enterprise. And why did I say that they are both important for a social enterprise? Is because you need sustainability. In fact, you need sustainability. Sustainability is very, very important, and sustainability is very key. And in impact assessment or impact measurement, a bigger things, impact is big and impact is in long term. Why monitoring and evaluation is, you are actually, because one thing is that success begets success. If you fail, if you don't put monitoring and evaluation in your activity, then you won't be able to even achieve your impact. I think that's just what to say, because monitoring and evaluation gives you pointer on what you should correct, what you should adjust on, what you should improve on. The goal is to actually do something big. The goal is to impact more people. The goal is to touch lives on a bigger scale. The goal is to, better the community, and the goal is to actually spread your influence across board. The goal is not just to, When you talk about social enterprise, you also talk about scaling up, multiplication of your impact, multiplication of what you are doing, and the goal is to become big with it. So, as a social enterprise, which you are both leveraging on social and economy, that means you must not leave, you must not leave the two. You must not focus one on the other. You must focus on the two, because whatever you're doing must touch life. Whatever you're doing must contribute to the world. Must better your environment, must better people, and whatever you're also doing must be sustainable. Not that maybe you have a funding of $10 million and you have spent all of the $10 million within duration of 2 years and you can't continue again. Okay, I think if no sustainability, it will be quantitative and can't create the impact you want. Exactly. So it has to do with longevity. And people always say that a lot of businesses fail, because they are not monitoring and they are not evaluating their activity. It's not just about you helping people. You must also be sure that you are also you're not just focusing on social. I just want to be sure that my presentation is not just talking about social. Do you know there's some organization that the fund that they received this year, they will just spend it, and by next year they are folding their hands. We're looking for the next people to go and hunt. You can't keep hunting people every time. If you come to Funder A this year, you're going to Funder B next year, you're going to Funder C. Funder A this year, let's say in 2020 you went to Funder A. In 2021 you went to Funder A. 2022 you went to Funder A. In 2023 Funder A will run from you. But you need these two procedures or these two technologies to make sure that your social enterprise is sustainable. We appreciate what you are doing. We appreciate that you want to make the community better. We appreciate that you want to create a positive change, but you also need to be sustainable. For example, I've heard about I was checking a post online of a particular farmer who wants to improve the betterment of his locality. He's a farmer, and what the guy did was, in fact, it was a top shot that actually shared the story, online. This guy, he's a social enterprise in the sense that through what he's doing, the community is better for it. I'm not just talking about better for it. He has actually imparted more people to replicate. In social enterprise, you are able to replicate your impact. You are able to duplicate your efforts. You are not just, for example, he is a farmer, and he's not just teaching people how to farm. He's also helping them to set up their own farming. What will I call it? They're also setting up their own farm, such a way that it's multiplying itself. So it is very important. I'll be rounding off now. It is very, very important as a social enterprise. Your goal is number one. You have to, and when you're talking about impact assessment, you need to be creative. You need to be innovative. You need to be creative and you need to be innovative. And then you also need to monitor and also evaluate what you are doing. Don't forget your mission and your vision statement. Your mission and your vision statement is very, very important. It's very, very important. And whatever you're doing, you must make sure that whatever activity that you're carrying out, you must make sure that your vision and your mission is being achieved in the course of it. And lastly, I'll talk about that. To achieve impact and also to monitor is not so expensive. Even though I thought about that, there are sophisticated tools that you can use, but you can start with also using survey. Survey is very important. Carry out survey, sectional survey. You can say, okay, I'm going to be carrying out this survey at the end of the month or at the end of. You need to measure. If you don't measure, then you cannot manage, you cannot control, you cannot predict, and it's not sustainable. Okay. So in case you have any questions, we can exhaust this discussion. It's a continued discussion. But all I'm sure that if you have, can you just tell me what you have learned? Let's say in the next 5 minutes, can you tell me what you have learned in the course of people that you're online? I want you to share what you have learned in the course of this presentation. Please share with me what you have learned. Can you share with me what you have learned? You know, I'm sure you must have learned, like, as a social enterprise. I'm going to just give a key point. As a social enterprise, you are leveraging on both social and economy, you know, factors. You know, you are imparting and at the same time you are empowering. So you are imparting and you are empowering. And another thing that I also talked about is also, I mentioned that I think I dwell more on impact because impact is key for me. I mean, I am keen about impact. You know, from now, I mean, I usually receive funding and impact is key. I mean, I have reports that I have reports in this system that I have to, you know, churn out to people that say, I have carried out this thing, I have made your money and I've made the funding that you have provided, I have made it sustainable. And also I have to make sure that I am also reviewing it, because there's no way you can carry out impact assessment without doing your monitoring and evaluation. You know, I said that impact is on a bigger scale, while monitoring and evaluation is very specific. So when you're going to use your monitoring and evaluation to also, you know, like I said, if you don't monitor and evaluate your smaller projects, you won't be able to measure your impact. That's just it. It's not just, you know, it's the little things that you are doing will make the big thing count. That's just it. So thank you so much for joining. I still want more comments. If you are here, kind of drop your comment. I know a lot of people have actually joined, and I'm also going to save this video. You know, I'm going to save this video such that it can be accessible to anyone that wants to listen at the end of the day. I don't know if Tolu is still here, so in case there's something you want me to focus on or you want me to just give an overview, let me just check. Maybe she have dropped me any message. All right, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for okay. Thank you so much for I have learned that social enterprise should be creating a sustainable impact, and also that it is important, it's essential to keep a track on progress, looking at both quality and quantity. Awesome, exactly, both quantity and quality. And that's just a short word for M&E: quantity and quality, quantity and quality, quantity and quality. It's not just about reaching people. I mean, the people you are reaching, are they in alignment? The people you are reaching, are they in alignment of, are they quality people? Are they relevant to your, to your project? Thank you so much, Francine, for sharing what you have learned. All right. I don't know if any other person has, if you have more things you want to share, All right. So thank you so much for joining me in today's discussion. I'm available for more conversation if you want us to talk about in-depthly of how to measure your impact. Maybe you've been struggling to measure your impact. Another thing that might actually cause people to struggle to measure their impact is their methodology. Are you using the right methodology? Methodology is very important. The way you carry out your activity is very important and very strategic if you're going to have a good impact assessment. If you're just doing activity like anyway, and that talks about planning your projects, that talks about project execution, mapping, stakeholder mapping, and all that. Like, this topic is very rich, and I'm really hoping that maybe in the future, or if there's another time, or if I have another privilege to come in, I'll talk about how people can design their activity, how people can map their stakeholders, and all this stuff. Thank you so much. Please keep following what we're doing at Muazu Africa. We have this a big vision, and we want more people to join us. You're going to be seeing several opportunities, which is going to be very pivotal to your own growth. You know, it's for your own good, and it's for own angle. Somebody said that one strand of broom cannot sweep very well, but if you bring so many strands together, you're definitely going to have a clean house. Bye for now. Bye everybody. Bye bye.